Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a dynamic effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below, it would be greatly appreciated. I almost didn't train today. I went back and took a little bit of a nap for about 30 minutes and then got back up, started my dynamic day. My left patellar tendon was really inflamed this morning from the meet, and my low back, hips and everything were still a little sore also. So I didn't really want to do any squatting, but I decided, look, I need to come in and at the very least do some speed work, some reverse hypers. I noticed when I went a little heavier on the box squats, they don't feel particularly good on the 13-inch box, so I added another inch. I always have Clint Darden tell me that I box squat too deep, by the way. He tells me this frequently. He's like, you box squat too deep. You don't need to go that deep. It's not necessary. So after this third set, I added a plate. Now, as you guys can see, this is looking a lot more west side-ish in terms of the percentages and everything. I have 265 on the bar here, on the Cambered bar. And in chains, I'm going to do the math. I forgot my math. While I'm sitting here, 103 pounds of chains. 103 pounds of chains. So, again, we're looking a little more west side-ish here, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm almost debating with the speed work, because it can end up being a lot of volume, if I really need to do both squats and deadlifts every single week, I may end up alternating them and do 10 sets, right? Just do 10 sets of one or the other. Again, more than reasonable, I think, again, for my goals, because I do all the other accessory work and everything. But the thing that I want to note here, when I'm looking at my weak links from the meet, looking how everything felt, I feel like at this point, I need more quads for my squats. I need more hamstrings for my deadlift, more triceps for my bench. So at this point, moving forward, these need to be priorities. My quads look smaller. They are objectively smaller now since I've been cutting. I feel like they're a little bit weaker. And I noticed when I got my squat, because I ran no sleeves, by the way, so I broke a state record with no sleeves. Not only did I get some inflamed patellar tendon from it, I felt nothing but quads. The only thing I felt on that squat was quads on the way up. So they're going to need to be a little more of a priority. It means definitely the volume needs to be fairly high on these box squats. And I'm going to start doing a lot more of that real narrow stance on the belt squat. I didn't want to do it today because of the tendon. But we're also going to ramp the sled work back up. I haven't done any sled work the final 2 to 3 weeks before this meet. Just because I knew I was about to get on the platform. So starting this week, we're going to start doing a lot more sled work. We're going to do more box squats. So priorities for me are definitely going to be quads, hamstrings, triceps. Those would seem to be what are holding me back. Now, we could even argue the quads would help my deadlift also. Because it's not like I stuck at the very top of the lockout. I've looked at the footage close. I stuck for about 3 seconds, literally at the base of the knee. That bar reached pretty much the base of the kneecap, and it just stopped and hung there for about 3 seconds, and then I just dropped it. So that would have gotten me a state record total had I made that pull. Now, in retrospect, it would have been easier had I just gone lighter on my third attempt bench and made it. Because that stuck right in the middle, by the way. Same thing for about 3 seconds. Stuck about 6-7 inches off the chest and just hung there. So I could look at that and say I should have got that state record total, but that's okay. I went in and I didn't worry about the meet. This was just a fun meet, kind of goofing off, so I didn't game it as well as I could have. But these are where my weak links are. So we're going to have to push these glute ham raises harder. I wanted to try to do 5 sets of these today, but my hamstrings were shot after 3. So this workout ended up being relatively low volume. Still going to get a good training response because that speed work is a lot heavier than I've been doing. I haven't done a lot of chains, and I haven't done speed work with that bar for a very, very long time. So we're getting a nice novel training response, pushing a little heavier weight. Again, should get a good training response from that. The glute ham raises, the reverse hypers, they were good today. Now again, walking into it feeling, like I said, a little fatigued. Bench work felt fine because my upper body's not really sore. Not really sore at all. So not a big deal, but the lower body was definitely not ready for a really hardcore training session. So fortunately, it was a speed day. Like I said, I didn't do any squatting because of that tendon, but honestly, now that I did the speed boxes, that tendon is starting to feel better. So that tendonitis, and actually I said patellar, it's not patellar. It's the quad insertions. I don't know why I thought patellar tendon. It's the quad insertions right where they insert in the knee. So I feel like I almost strained a quad, my left quad. And keeping in mind, guys, I did for the meet, I did the wide stance, toes out, real wide, pretty much did a low bar squat. I did a low bar power squat for that record, without the sleeves. And I've trained both lately, right? I've trained both Olympic squats and power squats. Or I've had another coach tell me, no one uses those terms anymore. So wide stance and narrow stance. But I competed wide, and I did it without the sleeves. I did it with bare knees. So when we look at that, that might have made it a little more quad dominant, but really that is the least quad dominant squat you can think of. Yet here I am seeing a quad weakness come out, feeling like I almost strained a quad. We need more quads. We need more quads. And it's funny to hear me say that because I'll oftentimes say on a power squat, quad weaknesses are rare. But look at the size of my hamstrings. Look at my glutes. Look how much posterior chain work I do. I'm possibly in that case to where my quads are now limiting my squat. Doesn't mean we don't do this other stuff, because I feel like my back needs to do better. But you know what? I didn't have the back issues. My chest didn't collapse at all. In fact, I made the squat, but I had to power through with so much quad. The back held up this time. And I think that's the difference between missing a squat versus making one that's a little slow. It's quads. Same thing with that deadlift there. I could look at that and say, if I had had more hamstring, would I have got it past the knee and then blocked it? I think the answer is yes. My triceps are stronger, would I got my third bench? Yes. Because that's how I got the close grip. My close grip was up past more than what I missed in the meet when I was bulking before, but look how much tricep work I was doing. So we have to look at the historical patterns with this stuff in our training. We have to look at what's going on with the weak links in the movements. So that's where we are. So they're all going to be priorities. So I did my normal reverse hypers here, by the way. Did the normal reverse hypers, did my 5x10, although I got like 12 reps on the last set. And I'm just going to stick with this weight and try to move it more strictly. Although part of me, is debating dropping down to 50% of my squat max, like I often prescribe, and seeing if I can get longer ranges of motion. Maybe at that top a little higher, get a little more glute involved there. Maybe. I might even do it. Make it a lot easier to load and unload plates, that's for sure. And then we finished up with one set of hanging leg raises, pretty much as many reps as I could get, which is about 10, just to make sure I'm getting some ab work in. And I'll rotate these around between the standing stuff, hanging leg raises. And I think what I'm going to do moving forward, I'm going to limit myself to about 20 work sets of supplemental lifts every workout. I think that's what I need to do. So I hope it has been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.